Good morning, everybody. Welcome. My name is Nico, and we're going to be looking at some OTC charts. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. We're about 3 hours away from the UK Open. So I'm going to show you guys a strategy that you can use on OTC. I use it from time to time, although I tend to trade the real markets. My trading day usually begins just after the UK Open, and I trade for a few hours and then that's it. So I don't trade in the evenings or on weekends usually, but I have used this on OTC in the past. But before we begin, I'm going to ask you guys, whenever you get your hands on a new strategy, it doesn't matter where it comes from, what the source of the strategy is, please test this on a demo account first. The reason for that is that it doesn't matter how good the strategy is, if you do not test and familiarize yourself with the parameters of the strategy, with the entry conditions of the strategy, you're going to end up losing money and you're going to throw the strategy away because you're going to think it doesn't work, while the problem really is that you do not quite understand what's going on, and you're just going to keep on looking for new strategies in perpetuity, and you're never going to find that golden strat because that doesn't exist. We are going to lose a couple of trades. Doesn't matter what strategy you use, there will always be losses, but we're going to not going to revenge trade. We're not going to double down. We're not going to martingale. We're just going to stick to the strategy, look for entries, and that's going to be it. So please, if you guys do want to try this out, just please keep in mind, test it first, get familiar with it first. That's really important with any new strategy, and it doesn't matter who's giving you the strategy, where you find it. If you trust the source, it's irrelevant in 100% of the cases. You do need to spend some time on a demo account and get familiar and learn how to spot the entries for that specific strategy. Okay, so that being said, let's go to the charts and I'll explain to you guys what we're going to be looking for. Right, so those of you guys that's following me during the week with my real trading, you will notice that my indicators are set up exactly the same way it is for normal trading. I've got 3 moving averages on my chart here. It's a 50, a 100, and a 200. These are going to be used as dynamic support and resistance areas. I've got the ADX, stochastic, and RSI on my chart, and these are all set to default values. No need to change them. What is different is that instead of candles, I'm using a tick chart, and my expiry time is set to 5 seconds instead of the usual 1 minute. Now, if your broker doesn't offer 5-second expiries, you can use the strategy on a 10-second chart and take 1-minute trades, or you can use it on a 1-minute chart, take 5-minute trades. You can even use it on a 5-minute chart and do 1-hour trades. What you need to be prepared for, though, is that the higher your time frame goes, the fewer fewer entries you're going to get within a time period. Right, so if I'm trading for an hour and I get maybe 20 entries on the tick chart, you're maybe going to get 3 or 4 on a 10-second. On a 1 minute, you may be going to get 1 or 2. Okay, so this does slow down quite a bit the higher your time frame goes. But on the tick chart, this is a very, very fast strategy, and that's why I'm using it. Okay, so what are we going to look for? The very first thing the very first parameter of this strategy is we need to find an asset that is in a very strong trend. We know that when anybody that's traded OTC in the past will know that once an OTC asset starts trending really hard, they tend to trend for quite a while and quite strongly. So we're going to take advantage of this trending of the OTC charts. So that's the first parameter. It needs to be in a very strong trend. This does qualify, right? So that's the first parameter. We need to find something that's in a really, really strong trend. And then we're going to look for trades. Our entries are going to be on the corrections of the trend. Corrections are whenever an asset is moving in a direction, be it up or down, doesn't matter, it will never move in a straight line. It will always, as you guys can see here, it will always have these little pushbacks. We're going up, pushing up, comes down. It's kind of like the price is resting a bit, and then resting a bit before it continues the push in the direction of the trend. So we've got this correction there, we've got small corrections here, we've got small corrections here, again here, and this is what where our trades are going to be taking place. Right, so the strongly asset that's in a very strong trend, and then we're going to start looking for corrections. Entry conditions, there's two entry conditions. The first one is these corrections, when there is a correction, it needs to take place on or very close to the moving average, right? So this is close to the moving average. This not quite. Okay, that definitely not. Okay, so it needs to be on or very close to the moving average. Then at the same time the correction is happening, we're going to keep an eye on the RSI. Since we're in an uptrend in this example, the RSI will be moving above the 50 line. But when there's a correction like this example here, we see that price was coming down. It hit the it's close to the moving average. But at the same time, my RSI tapped the middle line, the 50 line, and then got rejected. Right? So on that rejection, I'm going to take my trade. And those are the two conditions, and that's what we're going to be looking for. Unfortunately, it looks like this trend is ending here. We're seeing a strong pullback, but it's okay. We're going to start going through a couple of OTC assets, and we're going to see if we can find something that's trending very strongly, like this was, and then we're going to look for assets for the corrections, and we're going to play the rejections of the RSI middle line. And it is that simple, but please do not watch this video and think to yourself, looks easy, I can do it, and then go on your live account. Please practice it. Do a few demo trades. Sit for a day or two. It's really worth putting in the time to get familiar with it, instead of losing money, because you haven't practiced it a bit. You're not familiar with the parameters that much. Please just practice it. So let's skip through a few assets and see if we can find a strong trend. This is a fairly decent trend, but I don't like it when the moving averages gets intertwined and keep moving close to each other like this. When this happens, we see a lot of the corrections just push through through the moving averages, and this will mess with our win rate. I like to see it like in the previous example we had, like here, they were opening up and they just kept opening up until the price direction changed. So this is what we're going to be looking for, very strong trend. So let's see if we can find something that's trending. Obviously this does not qualify. It looks like we've got the start of a decent trend here. So I'm going to stay on this one. Might be a buy here. Let's see if the RSI gets rejected. It did. Off the middle line. And 5-second trade, we're good. And this is it. This is what we're going to be looking for. Find a strong trend. Now remember, I said we're only going to play a correction once. This was the correction. There was no new highs. So I'm not going to take another trade here. I'm not even going to look at it. But you can also see that when price hit the moving average, the RSI broke through. By the time it hit, the RSI was through and it did not reject. Okay, so two ways of guarding against bad trades. And as long as we stay within the parameters of the strategy, we will be okay. Even if we lose a trade every now and then, we'll be fine with the strategy. You just need to stay within the parameters. Okay, so we had a good trade. This is still moving upwards. Now I want to see a nice big push, and like this. So now I can say that price is making new highs, and now I can look for another correction. So we're going to see if we can get, if it does set up. We're tapping the RSI. We're not rejecting. Okay, so the RSI did not reject by the time price hit the middle line, after the moving average. No trade. Okay, we don't jump the gun, we don't rush it, we wait to see what happens. And only if it gets rejected while we're in a strong uptrend, we're going to take the trades. Now, these moving averages are moving closer to each other. We're going through the 100. So this is not an asset I'm going to watch anymore. I'll come back to it later, but now I'm going to look for a new asset that's in an emerging trade or a trend or in a well-established trend. Let's see if we can find one. This is a very new trend. We're not even finished crossing it's not even a minute ago, or it is a minute ago, just over a minute ago, but it's not a strong established trend for me. Let's see if we can find something. Okay, so this thing is starting to move really hard, but this is way too far from the moving averages at the moment. So this could just be a spike and we'll see a retrace, a massive retrace. Don't know, but I'm not going to waste my time seeing what happens. I'm just going to go through the next to the next asset, to the next asset. Okay, so remember, I said although we are in a downwards move here, I mentioned that we need to be on the be careful of assets where the moving averages are intertwining and touching the whole time and not far apart. Okay, so these are not far apart from each other. So there's a very good, there is a decent probability that we can see a pushback a very hard bullish push very soon. So I'm not going to risk taking that. It's outside the parameters of my strategy, so I'm not going to bother looking for trades. Same example, we've got the moving averages intertwined here. This does not qualify for me as a asset that I'm going to currently be watching. This is an emerging trend, maybe. Emerging, maybe. We need to find something that's established already. And this is what I said in the beginning. If you start going through OTC charts and you're struggling to find assets that's trending, give it a few minutes and basically all the assets will reset and change. What's the word I'm looking for? Okay, we've got a strong trend emerging here. It looks like it's decently established. Let's see if we can get some trades. RSI, is it rejecting? RSI is not rejecting. I'm not going to take the trade. Okay. So we really do need to keep an eye on the RSI. And we need to be very familiar with the conditions and the parameters of the strategy. What was that one? What's your overall trend? The overall trend here is down, so I'm going to be cautious. Although this looks like it's starting a new trend, the big picture is showing us this is in a very strong downward trend. So we're going to be a bit cautious when we find assets like this, but because we can see this was a very strong downwards move, so this might just be a correction on a bigger time frame. But let's sit on this for a second. Okay, so we got the RSI tapping the middle line there, but my correction wasn't even close to the moving average, so I'm going to ignore it. And we want to see some new highs here. We're not really seeing new highs. It is, I understand that it's technically a new high, but if we look at this compared to this area here, and we look at this area was moving upwards strongly, but this area is kind of flat, right? So it looks like price came up and then just flatlined overall. So we need to see some decent pushes. This is better. We're getting a decent high here. Let's see if okay, so my RSI is very close to the middle line here, but price isn't close to the moving average, so it's probably not going to give us a trade. I'm going to be ready though. Let's see. We could get one. Maybe. But it does look like price is like kind of like coming up and then just, it looks like it's flatlining and it's going to continue downwards. If you just like look at the bigger picture, you know, like the big move. Strong push, not so much strong. So there's a very good chance we're going to see, we're on the RSI there. Is it getting, no. Okay, so again, we didn't get a rejection on the RSI. and we're not taking the trade. I'm going to move away from this one. It looks like it's just a correction on a bigger time frame. We really want to hook a trend. Okay, so again, not liking this that much, because we're going to often see this happen. RSI is going through, no rejection. And again, it will happen from time to time. You're going to sit and you're going to struggle a bit to find a strongly trending asset. And then all of a sudden, it's going to be like it's going to feel like almost all of them are trending, and you're going to start hooking a bunch of trades, and then it's going to slow down a bit. But like I said, OTC charts that tend to trend in for a while at a decent, probably strong, decent strong trends. Okay, so this is, I'm not going to look for trades at this very moment here, because this is not an established trend. It looks like it's the start of one, but it's not well established. And we're going to just keep looking. Again, we've got the intertwinement here. I'm not a fan. Okay, so this trend is being established, but it looks, sometimes you're going to find that just as it starts trending, it's turning as well. I get that it does get a bit frustrating at times. It's not looking too bad. Oh, it's not moving so well either. Let's find a trend. This looks like it's the end of a trend. Here's a decent one, but the payout's crappy. But there's a rejection on or close to the moving average. There was a trade there. Payout's not nice. I like trading the 92% payout assets. It really helps if you, it doesn't hurt that much when you lose a trade. Next trade, basically, you get your money back, almost all of it, basically. So that helps with when you're trading. The higher the payouts are, the easier it becomes to make your money back. How long are we? 18 minutes. I mean, the video is 18 minutes long, and we already had a trade. And once we find something that's in a strong trend, we're gonna hook a few. Just need to be patient. We're not going to sacrifice trading parameters because we are impatient. This looks like it's starting to move properly. Okay, so we had the little intertwinement there, but it does look like it's they're all coming through now. They're all changing direction. It looks like we're going to have to sit a while to find a proper trend. Could be the start of a new trend, yeah. See how the 50 moving average is like flatlining? That's a bad sign for a trend. It could be tipping busy. It could be busy tipping over, and we're going to see it making new lows. It basically hasn't moved from this area for a while. There we go. Okay, so this is actually not looking bad. So let's see, we have decent downward movement, and we're going to just now sit and wait and see if we can find get some corrections, and then we're going to trade those. One of the ways to spot potential trade areas, let me just, before I explain this, let's just see what it does here. See, I'm not too comfortable with it being this far from the moving average. So I'm going to skip this, and it's fine. I don't mind skipping trades. Like I said, if I'm not too comfortable with the trade, just skip it and wait for the next entry. So a way to see areas where potential corrections might take place is by using the ADX. Now, if you're familiar with the ADX, you will know that the ADX line, which is the yellow one, does not show us direction, but it shows us the strength of a move. Let's see what happens here. Again, it's not that close to my, I like it to be closer. Now we're moving into, if it rejects now, I can take a trade. Let's see what the RSI does. Need to see if it gets rejected. I'm going to get in and go with the move. Good trade. So a way to see areas where possible corrections might take place is the ADX will shows us the strength of a trend, right? So when the trend is moving downwards, we're going to see the ADX rise because the trend is strengthening. But when we see the trend, the ADX drop, it tells us that the strength is weakening, the strength of the current move is weakening. It does not mean price is going to change direction. The ADX does not show direction ever. But it does show us that the trend is weakening. The current move is weakening. So you will see that every time the ADX starts coming down, most of the time we'll get a correction. Let's see if we get a trade here. Does it reject? I'm going to go with it. This is a bit, yeah, there we go. No, there we go. So when the ADX starts turning down, often, a lot of times there will be it'll be a correction. A lot of times price will just flatline, and other times it will actually reverse. There's no way of telling what's going to happen. So we're not using the ADX to determine entries at all, but we can use it to spot areas where a correction might take place before it takes place. Right, so again, as you can see, price was moving down, the ADX was climbing really hard, and when it started coming down, we had it flatline a bit, so this was not really a correction, we need a pullback. So it flatlined a bit, continued, and the ADX continued to climb again, and then when it turned here, while the ADX was going down, we formed a correction there, and then again, ADX started climbing as we're going down, and just before the correction formed, the ADX started dropping. We had a beautiful correction. We had a trade here actually, and then the trend continued. Okay, so this looks like it's turning. I'm not going to watch this anymore. Let's find another asset. I'm just going to start at the top again. The conditions, chart conditions on OTC charts change, especially, like I said, especially because I'm using tick charts. They change quite quickly. Quite often I don't even need to go through all of them. See if we can find something that's trending nicely. Again, remember what I said. When they're intertwined like this is not good for me. I don't like trading those. It's not a strong trend in my opinion. There's something here. Okay, so we've got this. Let's see. There's actually one forming now. Okay, so I'm not gonna. This is too far away. Let's see if this RSI is through. It's not getting rejected. It's not coming back. Okay, so I'm not comfortable with this trade here. So I'm just gonna stay out of it. And this as Y. Okay, so if we don't see the rejection, kind of like immediately, it doesn't. It's okay if the RSI pushes through the middle line just the tiniest bit. That's not a problem, but I do not like it when it taps, it flatlines, and it continues down. Okay, so we need the rejection, and it needs to be contact too long. If you take this example here, where the RSI pushed through just the tiniest bit, but immediately came back down. And when by the time the RSI came back down, we had price right on the just below the moving, well, basically right on the moving average, but it didn't break through. So if you got in when the RSI came back there, would have been a good trade, right? But I'm staying out of trades that looks like this. If I don't get a rejection immediately, stay out of it. Wait for the next one. We had in half an hour we had 3 trades already. This looks like it's turning, so I'm gonna look at some more. Because this is kind of like normal, but at some point you're gonna get find a trend that's just starting, a decent one, and it's gonna continue, and that's when this becomes really does become a lot of fun, because then every minute or two you're gonna hook some trades. You're gonna get 3 or 4 in a matter of 5, 6, 7 minutes. You're gonna get 3 or 4 trades, but we do need to be patient and wait and find a decent trending, properly trending asset. Otherwise, this strategy. Remember, the strategy is a continuation strategy, and this depends on. This is it depends on the fact that OTC charts like to go into these long runs. So if we don't, if we're not in an asset that's really in a strong trend, this is kind of useless, right? So we do need to find something that's trending properly. No, this might be opening up, but it's way too young. Again, same situation, opening up. Again, might see a trend there. Okay, so this looks like the start of a good thing. It's very new, but it's opening up quite nicely. I'm going to give it a few seconds, see what happens. Let's look at the bigger picture. We are in a overall upwards move has been for a while, although there was a big drop here. So it could be worth it waiting here. This could be a decent trend on a higher time frame, and that's exactly what we're looking for. But we just need to wait for this to confirm to me that this is a decent trend. This could very well be a move that just comes down from here. I'm not going to look for trades now, because like I said, I'm just going to wait and see if this trend actually does form, if there is going to be a strong trend, or if this is just going to be turning down. Let's give it a second. Need to see higher highs. Okay, so we're not technically, this is changing of a trend because we're seeing lower lows and we're seeing lower highs. That's a bearish trend. So it doesn't mean that this thing will drop, but there's a probability that it's going to go down for a bit now is also there because we're seeing lower highs. Been seeing lower highs for 2 corrections and the peak. I'm not going to bother with this asset for now. We're only going to look for something that's trending very strongly in one direction. Again, start of a trend maybe, but we don't care. Okay, so yeah. Maybe it looks like it's closing. I like this. If we can make new highs now, could consider staying on this, but it doesn't look like we're gonna. Like I said, if it doesn't look too good, if you're not too comfortable, go to something else. Do not take unnecessary risks. Looks like we're missing a few trends. Okay, so this looks like the beginning of something nice. it has been going upwards for a while. My moving averages has crossed. We're about halfway through the chart area that the view area. So let's stay on this for a second and see if we can get um, any decent trades. Right, ADX is turning down, tells me I might see a correction now. I'm going to keep an eye on this. RSI is nice and high. It's not even close to the middle line. So if we do see a sharp spike down, it could be a good setup where the RSI doesn't break through the middle line. But again, these are just clues. I'm not predicting what's going to happen. I'm just looking at, all I'm doing is looking at areas where I might get a trade. So sometimes the moves are fairly quick. And if you're not, let's see if the RSI rejects. It's not really rejecting, right? Okay, so it's not moving in a way that I like it. The rejection wasn't there quite that quickly, unfortunately. But rather stay out of a trade than take a trade with a low probability of winning. That's not a good setup and lose your money. Man, I would love to find the start of a decent trend here. But I said in the beginning, sometimes you're gonna it takes a while to find a decently trending asset. I would have by now have gotten up and go have some coffee or whatever. It's still very early. I'm definitely gonna have another cup of coffee real soon. But I would have gotten up by now. Give it like 10, 15 minutes before I even come back and look, maybe sometimes even half an hour before I start looking at for trends. Obviously, for the purpose of this video, I cannot do this. But if you're struggling to find strong trends like we are at the moment, it will happen sometimes that you're struggling to find a trend for a while. If it frustrates you, get up, go do something else going instead of starting to force trades and take unnecessary risks. Instead of doing that, just get up and walk away. This goes for any strategy you're using in any market. Some days your strategy will perform well, some days you're going to get a lot of entries, and some days you're not. We can only take what the market gives us. And if your strategy is not giving you entries and it's frustrating you, and you don't have the self-control, not the self-control, you don't have the, you struggle with the discipline to sit and wait for good entries, rather walk away than starting, than donating money to the back to the market. Because if that starts happening, if you're having a slow day and you start forcing trades and you start losing, people tend to go into a spiral, and then it gets worse and worse and worse. Before you know it, you've blown an account. So rather walk away. Looks like we've got something here. Oh, this is very sharp. I'll give it a few seconds. I'll come back to that. All right, so instead of donating money, walk away, go do something else. The market's always going to be there. It's just not always going to be nice to you. And if at the times when it's not nice to you, go do something else. This actually looks like a decent trend forming here. It's established. We did get the little pullback here. Let's see if we can get a buy. It's a bit far from the moving average at the moment, but it might still go up. Okay, so RSI is not rejecting. Invalid trade. It's that simple. Let's see if it moves up. If it stays above, we can actually stay on this asset and look for more entries. It doesn't look like it is. What was the one that looked like it was forming a new trend? Which one was that? Okay, so here's an area we might see some trades, but we do. Um, First thing I want to see now is some downwards movement, right? This is too kind of a little bit too flat. I want to see some downward movement first. Um, this is where we really need to be cautious, not to get frustrated and not to start rushing um, trades. Okay, so this did continue upwards. It didn't turn, but it's not really making new highs, which is a problem because this is technically not a upwards trend anymore. So until this starts moving, although I doubt it, these moving averages are look like they're locked onto each other. They're going to cross again. Not going to waste my time on it. Could be the beginning of a lovely trend, yeah. What's the overall movement is upwards. Okay, so I think this could be one that we can stay on for a minute. Maybe not. Okay, it looks like they're all flatlining at the moment. I'm not finding something with the trend. We're 37 minutes in. I'm going to stop the video here. Like I said, sometimes you're going to struggle to find a trend, go do something else. I'll bet good money that if I come back in, let's say 20 minutes, I'm going to find some stuff that's starting to trend and or are in decent trends already. This could be the beginning of a new trend. It's very new though. Not trusting this at all. And again, we've got this wasn't. We got the moving averages close to each other there before it starts going up. When this happens, you're going to see a lot of moves where the price pushes through like this, pushes through. When they're this close and they like keeping close to each other. That's why I like to find where the moving averages are either running parallel or opening up. That's a strong trend. So I'm not going to risk something and not taking trades on this. I'm going to go through this one more time. If there's nothing that's trending, I think we're going to call it. Hello. This looks like it might be the start of a good move. Let's see what happens. So technically I could have taken this on the rejection of the moving average, but it's a new trend. I'm a bit cautious. But caution and patience pays off. RSI is not rejecting, it's going through. I can feel myself getting frustrated not finding a decently trending market at the moment. Like I said, usually if I wasn't making a video, if I was just trading, I would have gotten up by now and take a small break and wait for market conditions to change. But okay, so right this moment, it doesn't seem that there's anything that's in a very strong trend. We did get 3 trades in. All of them was good, but we're not going to force We're not going to rush. We're not going to force trades. We're just going to take it easy. But I think I'm going to cut the video here. If you guys have any questions on the strategy, leave a comment. I'll read it, answer it in another video. If it's something that needs to be explained, if it's a quick answer, I'll just answer it in the comments. I'll reply to you guys there. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this. And again, please just, if you want to use the strategy, practice it a bit, get familiar with it, before you just jump into live and start losing money. And remember, although we didn't get a lot of trades, we got 3 trades here. I won all these trades, but I do lose trades on the strategy as well. So will you. It's fine. Don't get upset. Don't get start revenge trading. Don't start martingaling. Just carry on. There will be losses. There always are with any strategy. But once you get, and this is the reason you need to practice, because if you just jump into live with this, you're not only competing with the charts, but you're competing with yourself as well. Okay, so if you understand the strategy, you're familiar with the parameters, you're comfortable with the strategy, you understand what it is you're looking for, then you're only competing against the charts for entries and not against yourself anymore. Right, so right, that's it from me, guys. Have a great day. In about 2-3 hours, I will be posting my real market trading. We got 2 hours and 15 minutes left before the UK Open, and I'll be back then for my daily video. But I hope this helps you guys. Those of you that can only trade OTC due to time constraints, I really hope this gives you an edge. So yeah, and as always, guys, trade smart, trade safe, and I'll see you guys later. Cheerio.